Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Reading's virtual and in-person Sunday worship service. My name is Charlene Reynolds-Santo. I'm a member of the worship arts team, and my pronouns are she, her, and hers. This morning, we gather in an understanding and welcoming, family-friendly community where we nurture and explore individual spirituality, work to build a committed and loving community, and to help heal the world. Whoever you are, wherever you are from, whoever you love, whatever your faith tradition, you are welcome here. If this is your first time with us, I would like to extend a special welcome to you. If you haven't already, please look at our webpage at uureading.org for more information about us. Here you can find details about our church community, sign up for the weekly newsletter, and find the contact information for Melissa Martin, our Member Services Coordinator. Later in the service, we will collect our offering, and as it is our spiritual tradition here, we share half of the week's offering with a nonprofit organization that shares our UU values. We do this not because we have more than we need, but because there is so much need. And this is a simple yet powerful way for each of us to live out our mission's commitment to heal the world. We do this by becoming more involved in our community, by learning about and supporting the good works of charitable organizations. Our Share the Plate recipient for the Sundays in March is UU Mass Action. Since 2006, they have been organizing and mobilizing 146 Unitarian Universalist congregations across the state to comfort oppression and engage in social justice work. UU Mass Action focuses on immigration justice, economic justice, decarceration, rights of Indigenous people, and climate and environmental justice. UU Mass Action was nominated as our Share the Plate recipient by the Green Sanctuary team. For the past several years, members of UUCR have been working with UU Mass Action as part of the North Shore and Merrimack Valley team. On behalf of all the staff, all the volunteers involved in today's service, I want to thank you all for being here, whether it's physically or virtually. We believe you belong here. We believe you belong here, maybe just for the next hour, although we hope for longer. You belong here, and we are grateful that you are joining us here today. Now I would like to introduce Ryan Sillers for a pledge drive announcement.
Good morning. I'm Ryan Sillers from the Pledge Drive team, and my pronouns are he and him. Now, our annual pledge drive started last Sunday, and I'm pleased to announce that we've already received 20 pledges for almost $60,000. And many of those included an increase from last year. Thank you to all of you who have already submitted your pledge, and we hope that everyone else will follow soon and submit their pledge soon. Now, we sent off a kickoff email last Tuesday. It has links to all of our pledge drive material, including our brochure and letter, as well as a link to submit your pledge online. You could find all of this information on UUCR's website as well. Look for the donate button and follow that down to the annual pledge drive link. Now, if you haven't received any emails or have any questions about this year's pledge drive, please come see me or the other members of the team, AJ and Tracy. Now, we have a lot to be excited about, from our new minister to our wonderful choir and guests today, and more. And so we have chosen Forward Together as our theme for the year. Now, our goal is to have all of our members and friends make a pledge and raise $385 in order to balance our annual budget. Your generosity will help get UUCR moving forward again. Every pledge, large and small, will be gratefully received. Thank you. And now I'd like to invite up Janet Newsman, and she is going to tell us why UUCR has become so special to her.
Good morning. My name is Janet Nussman. My pronouns are she and hers, and I've been asked to tell you what I think of this place. So some context. Cast your mind back to March 1981. Back a little further. I had just met Bob Carey, now my husband. In a short while, he invited me to go to church with him. Well, that's not actually true. He invited me to go to the choir practice with him. Of course I hesitated. Well, don't I have to talk to the director first? Isn't there an audition or something? I thought it was kind of a bold suggestion. But he would not relent, and he insisted, so I tentatively or hesitantly came, and I was so warmly welcomed, as you can all imagine. And I've been singing with the choir ever since. There's nothing that bonds people like singing together, breathing in sync, and listening very carefully to each other in order to create a kind of harmony that will enrich our services. It turned out that this church was a very good fit for me, as was Bob. During the years since then, I've served on the governing board and almost every other committee at some time or another. And I've had a chance to make a lot of observations, a couple of which I'm eager to share with you today. First, I have to state the obvious. This community is full of extraordinary people. People you really want to be around, get to know, feel the privilege of having them as good friends. People you can easily admire, people who respect each other, interesting, capable, creative, unique, no cookie cutters here. I've also noticed that when people here take on a project or a committee assignment, they do their best work. And we all know there are reasons for that. People care about this place. I've also been gratified to watch parents so committed and so working so hard to provide meaningful growth experiences for their children. Alas, experiences they could get no other place except for places such as the Winchester Unitarian Society. That would be one place I would look. Then I would point out that this is a place where we can and we do share our beliefs and personal worldviews with each other, even about those tricky philosophical, theological, and spiritual issues. Particularly during my early years here, there were many opportunities to do that, even within the Sunday services, to air and share our innermost thoughts and beliefs. And I have always felt beholden to the people who were willing to share. That's something that many people are actually taught to avoid. Too controversial. And certainly there are not many opportunities to do that, perhaps not even with our closest loved ones over the Thanksgiving table. Every time there's an event here, whether it's the fair or Ivy Cord or a wedding or a memorial service, people from the broader community have a chance to get to know us better. I've watched plenty of people staring at these mysterious symbols over the chancel arch or perusing our hymnals while waiting for a service to begin. They can hardly miss the fact that there's something different here. Our hymnals certainly demonstrate that what we say and the words we use are important to us. There is nothing done here simply by simple, unthinking rote. We say what we mean and we mean what we say. I've always considered those occasions to be some of our best outreach opportunities, although I have to confess I have not noticed people running back to join the membership book. Nonetheless, they do leave here with something of value. The experience gets them to thinking, and no matter who you are or where you are, that is healthy for anyone's personal and spiritual life. Earlier in my life, I thought it was important for me to work out a personal policy on all the big philosophical, religious, and social issues. However, I have come since, at last, to accept and appreciate the necessity of learning to live with ambiguity. And rather than continuing to hone my personal credo, I would now prefer to expand it. And I know of no better place in which to do that stretching than within this community. That growth comes in many ways, through both the inspiration of our shared activities and worship services, but also from the inspiration and insight into each other's lives. Nowadays, I also realize how much I crave the presence of people who share my values, both in order to accomplish good deeds together and make a difference, but also simply as an anchor for my soul, and to restore my faith in the possibility of a better future for everyone. I know of no better place to do that than here in this beloved community. Here are the kind of people we don't see on sitcoms, the late night shows, or even the news. Here are people, you are people, striving to live out life's challenges with love and hope. That is a model I want to hold close. Now, where else would I rather be? What other kind of community would I rather support?
Thank you, Janet. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Charles. Good morning, everyone. My name is Reverend Laura Solomon, and my pronouns are she, her, and hers. It is my privilege to serve as the minister here at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Reading, and it is an honor to serve this community and the world with you. I am so pleased this morning that we are joined by the choir from our neighboring church, the Winchester Unitarian Society. Hooray, exactly. The collaboration between their music director, John Kramer, and our music director, Mary Cunningham, has been such a blessing to witness as they have shared music and talent with one another. As we settle in for worship this morning, a worship time for all ages, I invite you to take a breath. Remember that all that you bring into this space is welcome. We remember always, and today particularly, that a noisy church is a healthy church, and you are invited to move and engage with today's worship service as you need. I invite you to close your eyes for a moment and imagine something growing. Feel the small seed of love, of joy, of hope, of community stirring within you. Our opening words come from Laura Wallace. As frozen earth holds the determined seed, this sacred space holds our weariness, our worry, our laughter, and our celebration. Let us bring seed and soul into the light of thought, the warmth of community, and the hope of love. Let us see together, hear together, love together. Let us worship. We light our chalice this morning with Unitarian Universalists all around the globe. I invite you to join me in your chalice lighting words, which are printed in your order of service. In the light of truth, the warmth of community, the fire of commitment, we gather this day. May the flame we now kindle be to us a symbol of the holiness we seek. Each week, we recite our children's affirmation as a reminder of the most important elements of who we are. Please join me in reciting these words. We are Unitarian Universalists, the Church of the open mind, the loving heart, and the helping hands. I'm going to turn us over to Mary for a moment.
Everyone, it is so good to be with you all today. We have a whole lot of singers. I'm just saying that to those back in the back corner there. If you want to see this amazing choir, come on forward. John Kramer and I have been friends for a long time, and it was with great joy to collaborate together with our choirs. And I love nothing more than to put Unitarian singers together, actually anybody in the Unitarian faith, to bring people together to meet each other and know that we are not alone in this world. And in the greater Boston area, there are so many friends and people who reflect what Janet Nussman had described us as, just really good friends you just haven't met yet. So this has been a fun experience, and welcome. Thank you for coming, Winchester. We have some program notes in the order of service if you want to take a look at some of the lyrics and such on one of the back pages. But we are going to rise in body and spirit and sing one of my favorite hymns, thank you, Reverend Laura, For the Beauty of the Earth, number 21.
Like to invite anyone who would like to hear a story and be able to see some pictures to come up front. Hello, hello, it's so good to see you. So we're going to read a book this morning, and I wanted to be sure that everyone could see the pictures because the pictures in this book are so lovely. So you'll see the pictures up here on the monitor. Our book this morning is called The Everything Seed, A Story of Beginnings. This story is one way of understanding where we come from and who we are. And it helps us to understand that everything is related and linked in complicated and beautiful ways. In the author's note to this book, the author quotes mathematical physicist Dr. Brian Swimme as saying, "Every child should be told, you come out of the energy that gave birth to the universe. Its story is your story. Its beginnings are your beginnings." This is a book that tells us that story. Charles, you can go ahead and press play. The Everything Seed, A Story of Beginnings. Have you ever watched a seed grow? Have you ever noticed how it begins so small, so still, so quiet, like a gift waiting to be opened? And how slowly it wakes up, begins to unfold, growing into something larger and larger and larger. Then you know that whatever comes from a seed usually ends up looking very little like the seed it came from. Which is also true of the very first seed. Once, long, long ago, way back before the beginning, so long ago, there was no such thing as time because there was no one there to count it. Everywhere was a huge, deep, mysterious place, like something waiting to happen. There were no stars, no sun or moon. There was no place like Earth, not a drop of water or a single tree or rock or flower, and no living beings anywhere. But in that deep waiting space was hidden the tiniest pinpoint of something no bigger than a seed. It was not a flower seed. It was not an elm tree seed. It was not a seed of corn, although all those things were included in the seed. You might call it an everything seed, because that is what it is. No one knows where that first seed came from, or how it was planted, or how it knew, in the way that only seeds seem to know, how long to wait for just the right moment to sprout and grow. But all at once, this tiny seed, cradled and nourished in the rich soil of space, woke up, broke open, and began to unfold. Unfolding, unfolding, and blossoming forth. Into an enormous blazing ball of bright light. Like a great grandmother sun. And the universe was born. Out fluttered the galaxies like a storm of snowflakes swirling. And gathering into the brightest, most blindingly beautiful clouds of stars. And out of those star clouds whirled our own star, the one we call the sun. And our earth. And the moon. And all the round spinning planets we have learned how to name. And this is the secret of that tiny seed. You and I were there in the very beginning. just as the idea for each leaf on a big oak tree lies hidden inside an acorn, everything was there. All the rocks and oceans, planets and animals and people. Thank you. Everything that is now, ever was, or ever will be was inside that first tiny seed. So whenever you hold a seed in your hand and wonder what it could become, imagine how you and all that is here once came from that tiniest speck of an everything seed before it sprouted and grew long, long ago. Now, if this were an ordinary story, it would end right here. But this story of the universe keeps unfolding. What once began in a blazing blossom of light continues every day. New stars sprout open in the deep soil of space. New plants and animals appear on the earth. Seeds of many kinds are scattered all over the earth to help us remember. And new people are born every day, with the spark of that first light still alive and burning deep inside, waiting like the everything seed to shine in ways that are yet to be known. The end. Thumbs up. Thank you all. Thank you all for watching. So you're going to go back to your seats now, and then in a little bit, you're going to come back up, and we are going to do some things with seeds of our own. Does that sound good? Awesome. Thank you all for listening. We take time during our service to light our candles of community, peace, and justice. We light our red candle of community to signify our interconnection. Wherever you are in time and space, newcomer or long-time member, here in the sanctuary or joining us virtually, we light this candle holding you in love. May this light welcome and hold you, reminding you that your presence is needed in this community. As we light this candle, I invite you to speak aloud the name or names of people who are on your mind and heart today, to bring them fully into this space. We light our blue candle of peace for all the places worldwide where people live with the threat of war and violence. This week particularly, we hold in our hearts the people of Turkey and Syria as they work to recover their lives following that devastating earthquake. And we continue to bring to our minds, hearts, and attention the passing legislation impacting our trans and non-binary beloveds. We know that every body and every gender is holy, whole, and sacred. And we light our yellow candle of justice. May all people everywhere live their lives in freedom, and may we each do our part in our community in the work for justice and liberation. As we recommit ourselves to the work of love and justice, may we each voice this commitment by saying amen. Will you join me in a moment of prayer or meditation? Spirit of life and love, we give thanks today for all of our joys, all of our blessings, all of the things in our lives, in our world that give us hope and happiness. We are grateful for sun and the chirping birds and even just the talk of seeds and growth and spring. We give thanks for the light that is returning and for the turning of the year. We give thanks for the beauty of spring and nature's reminder that even the harshest seasons of our lives will one day give way to new life, new beauty, and new possibility. We also know that the weight of the world has been heavy on our hearts for such a long time. We have all had our own challenges and griefs to bear, and we feel for the many around us in pain and suffering. We lift up all who share their sorrows, and those whose sorrows are too deep for words, too painful to share. We hold them in our hearts. May the spirit of freedom, the heart of courage that sees these things through to the end, that never loses faith, that won't back down, be in us and with us. May our faith guide us, reminding us that a better world is possible. Amen. I'm going to invite you all into a ritual this morning. We are going to engage in a ritual of scooping and sealing the seeds that we are nurturing and growing in community. All of you in the sanctuary are invited to come forward along the choir transept side of the sanctuary. You will receive a seed envelope from Charles and then are invited to put a spoonful of annual wildflowered seeds into your envelope. From there, you'll walk around to our second table where you will seal your envelope with water from our water communion water gathered at our in-gathering service in September, sealing these seeds with the promise and love of this community. If you are participating virtually this morning, I invite you to send me an email so I can mail you some wildflower seeds for you to plant and grow wherever you are. As Trevor begins to play, the choir is invited to come up first, and then everyone else is invited to follow them. You may come forward now. Thank you, choir. I have long been fascinated by origin stories and by the way our origin stories shape our culture. I love the everything seed because the author proposes a new origin story, a story that tells us we are all related and evolving and unfurling and interdependent. The everything seed tells us a story of a life and a process that is not yet finished. We are unfurling and developing within the context of this world that is unfurling and developing, within the context of a universe that is unfurling and developing, and we are all made of the same essential stuff. One of my favorite memes says, "You are a ghost driving a meat-covered skeleton made from stardust, riding a rock floating through space. Fear nothing." The everything seed takes me to that place a little bit too. Everything that ever was and everything that yet will be and everything we need and everything that will happen is already present here, it seems to say. It is already contained in the seeds that already exist. What do we need to be afraid of? Now, I will say that my theology is more complicated than this, and my anxiety certainly makes life feel a little more complicated. But that idea that all that we have ever been and all that we yet will be, we already have within us, that is powerful. Because we all know that planting, growing, successfully tending new growth is not just about the seeds. Sure, the seeds are important. We cannot plant petunias and expect to grow a watermelon. We cannot plant acorns and then be disappointed when we grow oak trees instead of tomatoes. But more important than the seeds is the soil, which is actually wonderful news. Because the seeds, they already have what they need. The seeds, everything seeds or otherwise, they have what they need to grow into exactly what they are meant to become. The soil, though, we can care for. We can add more compost, we can till it, we can water it. Our job is to nurture the soil so that what is planted can grow. Here at UUCR, we are the everything seeds. We contain all that UUCR has ever been and all that we yet will be. Among the people who are here with us today, in person and virtually, we have what we need to grow and thrive. We have all we need to be the community of love, care, connection, and justice we strive to be in the world. Our job as stewards of this congregation is to tend the soil so the everything seeds we are can grow. Our responsibility is to love and care for this community and one another. Our responsibility is to tend the soil, which means sometimes we are adding beautiful, rich dirt that smells like health, and sometimes means that we are handling compost that also feeds health but isn't nearly as pleasant to handle. Let us tend the soil so we may grow in health, love, and joy. All that we need is already contained within us. May we cultivate the soil so that we grow our community with love and joy. As you listen to the meditation, you are invited to reflect on the seeds you want to grow in the world. Seeds of love, of justice, of healing or joy. Seeds of comfort, change, gratitude, rest. When you have your word, please write it on your envelope. and hold on to your envelope for just another moment. Growing the seeds of the world we hope to create takes partnership, collaboration, and teamwork. At this time, you are invited to rise, find a friend, old or new, and trade envelopes with them, gifting one another the kind of seeds that you hope to sow. As we bless one another with the gift of our seeds of hope and love, we will sing hymn number 402, From You I Receive. We have gathered seeds of hope, of joy, of justice, and liberation. We have blessed them with the love of this community, and we have shared them with one another. Now is the time to plant our seeds wherever we may go so that we may build the world we dream of and live into a brighter tomorrow.
Our congregation exists and thrives through the gifts of those who call this place their spiritual home. If you're here with us in the sanctuary, you may put your gift in the collection plate as it goes by. Otherwise, you may make a gift online or mail in a check. Please give as generously as you are willing and able to our Share the Plate offering to support UU Mass Action and the mission of UUCR. If this is your first time with us, your presence is gift in itself. Thank you.
Thank you to our joint choirs for the beautiful gift of music this morning. I'm Melissa Martin, your Member Services and Volunteer Coordinator. My pronouns are she and her. This is the part of our service called Our Congregational Life, where we highlight various opportunities for engagement in this our shared ministry. All of this is centered in our UUCR mission to nurture and explore individual spirituality, build a committed and loving community, and to help heal the world. This week's opportunities include a virtual social crafty drop-in and a Buddhist meditation offering. There are also ample ways for congregants to support the upcoming service or social hour in a small way. You can do this by providing chancel flowers, signing up to usher or host a social hour, or by donating non-perishable snack items for our social hour. You can find a link for these roles in our weekly update, or you can reach out to me. As you can see in the back of our order of service today, the Starlight Soiree on Saturday, March 25th will be an enjoyable social evening together to support the mission of this church. Hors d'oeuvres, beverages, and live music will begin at 6 p.m. The live auction will begin at 7, with auction items offered to fit every budget. Sign-ups for fixed-priced group activities will also be available throughout the evening, and a silent auction will close at the end of our dessert break halfway through the live auction. We hope that you will join us and bring a friend. Thank you to those who are volunteering to lift up this special event. Finally, as we live out our faith by engaging in the work of justice, witness, and love, Reverend Laura invites you to join her here outside of church on Sunday, March 26th from 4 to 5 p.m. for a public witness event proclaiming that Black Lives Matter. We will have materials for you to make a sign, or feel free to bring your own. For today, those of you in person are invited to join us for today's social hour celebration. Our UUCR quilters will be on hand to assist congregants who wish to participate in our quilting activity for this year's raffle quilt, and we hope you will. Our friends online who wish to learn more about the Raffle Quilt Project are encouraged to reach out to me or Suzanne Sullivan, and they're invited to join today's Zoom social hour hosted by David Adamson. Thank you, David. Thank you for all the ways that you are a vital part of our congregational life.
I'm going to invite Lorraine and Paula up for just a moment. They have a special announcement today.
My seeds have grown. Good morning. As you know, we're celebrating today at Social Hour 2 happy church transitions. Actually, you know that that's true because we're having cake at coffee hour. And I'm here with my friend Lorraine. To say a little bit about these transitions now. During service, we wanted to do it now so that we can celebrate with those who are watching from home. My name is Paula Tucci. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. And I've been serving on the Governing Board Executive Committee for this is my 4th year. For the last year and a half, I've been the liaison between Governing Board and staff. That's to ensure that we walk the same path together during the time when we didn't have a minister. But it also means for me that I had the pleasure of working with Melissa Martin every week. Many of you know that Melissa was asked in June of 2021, think way back now, this was when Ann Caldwell was here, but Ann asked her to serve as interim congregational administrator, a job that at the time had not been defined. It also had no length, right? It didn't, we didn't know for how long Melissa would be serving in that role. But as you in your hearts know, Melissa was very, very generous in her acceptance because she wanted to do for the church whatever she was asked to do and whatever she was able to give. The job was very intense at times, I will admit. It required constant balancing and reshifting of priorities, and not just the typical reshifting that you'd expect of a manager trying to keep a church running smoothly during a global pandemic, but also the needs of her other job, too, her other job as membership coordinator. And I will tell you that she refused to give that job up. Melissa helped us make it work. Look where we are today, right? And she did it the whole while with a smile on her face. And now, with most of Melissa's goals as congregational administrator met, and with the pandemic concerns reduced, and with Reverend Laura with us, the church is poised to focus on membership again and in inviting new friends to join us. So Melissa is holding us to our promise of returning her to her pre-pandemic and much-loved role of member services and volunteer coordinator. And of course, we would like that for her too. Personally, I'll do some crying about not getting to work with her weekly, but before I do that, Melissa, if you could stand. All the way up here. I invite you to join me. I invite you to join me in recognizing and appreciating Melissa's enormous dedication, commitment, and gifts to our community. Melissa, these flowers are for your garden, and they come with our perennial gratitude and admiration for your enormous dedication and service to our community.
It's been an honor. Thank you.
Okay, my friend.
Sorry, my turn. Hi, everybody. How are you doing? Okay? Well, I'm delighted to have this opportunity to celebrate our minister this morning, and there she is. Reverend Laura has been with us since August and has brought us so many thought-provoking, interesting, provocative worship services. I especially love the Time for All Ages and Laura's interaction with our kids. She obviously loves them and teaches them some very good lessons from these stories. Just a few weeks ago, Laura became our full-time minister, and we signed a new contract that expires in June of 2025. That seems far away, doesn't it? When I was working with the staff in 2021 to find consistent quality worship for us, it was challenging. Now, with Reverend Laura here, the staff and the worship arts team working together, we can count on inspiring preaching, warm pastoral care and support as we spend 2 more years learning and growing together. Welcome, Reverend Laura. Yay. We love you. And we hope you'll, oh, shall I give her the flower? Oh, thank you. My assistant has the flower. There you go. Okay, and finally, please join us in Fellowship Hall and let's eat cake. Thank you.
Please rise. Let us sing together. Please rise in body or in spirit, and we will sing our closing hymn number 1000, Morning Has Come. Please join me in our chalice extinguishing words, which are printed in your order of service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. May we go out into the world knowing we are the everything seeds. We contain all that was and all that yet will be. With that promise and that responsibility, we commit to sowing the seeds that will change the world. May it be so, and amen.